The Silver Chair, C.S. Lewis, sixth in the Chronicles of Narnia series. There's only one more, guys, and this one is actually, I can't decide if it's my very favorite, but it's definitely up there. And I should say that I'm extremely biased because there's this one scene in The Silver Chair that I really love. I won't get to talk about it because it's very spoilery, but there's it's audio kind of books, audio dramas of these the whole Chronicles of Narnia series, done by Focus on the Family. They're pretty dang good, but there's just this one scene that I really love in The Silver Chair, and so I listened to that scene over and over and over again to the point that I could basically recite it when I was reading this book. So I am biased because I just love that scene. It's very poignant. So there you have it. There's a scene near the end. If you get to the end, that is very, very good. And so I won't spoil that part for you, but I will tell you the basic premise of the book. So it starts out. We have Eustace, who is in Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and we also have his new friend Jill. They're not really friends. They're kind of grumpy to each other, which I mean is at least a character trait. I've complained in the past about some of the children having very few character traits and being kind of just meh and blah. But they at least have character. It's just that it's kind of them grumping at each other and sniping back and forth, which is not great. It's not endearing to the characters very much. But this book, I will say, has an overall more darker tone to it, which I'll get to. But anyway, so we have these two characters, and they are having some trouble at school, and so they want to leave and go to Narnia. And of course, Eustace knows about it because he's been there before. He tells Jill. Jill is in a bad place at the time, so she's just like, well, we'll try to get there, like not. It's surprising that she doesn't think he's completely batty. But I mean, she's just kind of looking for anything at this point because she's just kind of distraught. So anyway, they call to Aslan and they go there. They get into Narnia. Aslan talks to Jill. Jill is being. There's just so much dark stuff in this book. I think that's why I like it. It's very different from the rest of them because they're standing on the edge of this cliff, and Jill is being a show off and being like, I'm not afraid of heights. And then she looks down, she's like, oh, that's far away. And Eustace is like, get off. And then he like flies over the cliff. And of course, Jill thinks he's like dead. And Aslan's there, and so Eustace doesn't die. But you don't know that for sure for a while. You know Aslan did something, but anyway, so Aslan gives Jill kind of a quest. It's kind of different from the past books because, there's never been like a directive, like, you need to go here and do this. But it's very much that this time. So Aslan says, Caspian, who was in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and Prince Caspian. Caspian's old now. He had a son. This son got lost. Nobody knows where he is. You need to go find this son. And, here's a couple of signs that will take you there, that will make your life easier. Just make sure you do these signs, repeat them to yourself so that you recognize them. And yeah, so she's sent off, meets Eustace, and they proceed to bungle absolutely everything possible, which is so funny. They're such, I don't know, they're not very good at the job, but I don't know. I think I enjoy that a little bit more than some of the past ones because they really are just kids. Like the four Pevensies were just so good at everything they did. They picked up everything pretty much right away, except of course for Edmund, who of course was the bad one, but he was the bad one, and all the rest of the good ones were like, oh, we can sword fight, and oh, we can, do this and that, and sword arrows and swords, and we have magical potions and whatever, and these kids are just like, what are we doing here? So it's good in that way, because you relate to these people a little bit more. There's just some great characters and kind of great things that they run into along the way. They end up having a guide in the form of this marshwiggle named Puddleglum, who is so funny because he thinks everything's going to go wrong, and it's a big plot point about how they get tired of him thinking that everything's going to go wrong. And so it's more clever, I would say, than some of the past books because there are things that are set up that end up going throughout the entire book and becoming important, especially character traits, which it shows a bit more forethought than some of the past books have. And I also, it's a little episodic in how the whole story goes. They kind of, there's the front part where they bungle the first thing, and then there's the second part where they bungle the second thing, and then there's the last part, and then they're all in different places. So it's kind of like Voyage of the Dawn Treader in that way, but at the same time, all of the places that they go are really interesting. Voyage of the Dawn Treader did some world building, and that we got to see all these different islands, but that's not really stuff that you're ever going to see again. Whereas this book does more world building in that it introduces a lot of new peoples and kind of how they are, what their traits are, and how they live their lives. Does a lot more description, so I really enjoyed that part of it. The more imaginative things, they're not like, I've never heard of marshwiggles before. I don't know if that's some sort of accepted mystical creature, but it's something that's unique to me. Whereas before it was just kind of dwarves and talking animals and whatever. But now we have more peoples that are more unique and are better built, and better described than we have in the past. And finally, the thing that I really like about this book that I talked a little bit about before is how dark it is. It has a lot more. I don't know, just everything in it is life or death kind of stuff. And instead of, oh, Aslan's gonna come in and save the day, and this is a bright, happy world with magical stuff in it. I mean, I guess The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe could get kind of dark, of course, because of the White Witch and everything. But this book is much darker, just because you have the kids fighting. They're going into the places that they go to are extremely dangerous, and we dip into some very, very dark, kind of disturbing-ish matter. And you have this grumpy old marshwiggle person that they're going around saying how they're gonna die in every situation. It's just got this really dark vibe, which I really dig. So yeah, I really like this one, and as I said, the ending is very good. Some of the characters, well, one character in particular is kind of over the top, and that's spoilery, so I won't go into that. But overall, I really like this one very well, and it does a good job of setting up a mood. It does a good job of setting up the characters and the world very well. I would say this is definitely up there with Horse and His Boy. It's funny because I feel like the best books so far, the ones that I like the most out of this series, are the ones where the kids are really grumpy and angry at each other, which doesn't seem right. It seems counterintuitive. It seems like, the kids should be happy, and those are the kids that you should really like. But I don't know. They help you relate to them more when they're grumpy and they're in this honestly weird, terrible situation that, poor Jill. Jill's never even been here before, and she was sent on a quest by a talking lion to save some random prince dude, and she runs into giants and all sorts of crazy creatures, and what? I would be emotionally distraught. I'm proud of her for holding it together. She's a little emotionally distraught, but you get why. Anyway, I should stop rambling about it, but I really like the silver chair. The next book we're going to do is way over there. I won't go get it. Is the fourth in the Alex Rider series. It's called Scorpia. And of course, I didn't do the second and third, and I won't do the rest of the series, but I'll kind of talk more about the series as a whole when I do that one. But I have to read it first, so I'll get on that, and I'll see you guys another time. Bye!